Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Trackmania channel for the Trackmania Grand League Weekly Show, episode 5 for this season. I'm Thomas Mengozzi, aka GGeek. Welcome to everyone who just joined us, and yeah, alongside me is the one and only SinasAppel. How you doing?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Trackmania Weekly Show. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I guess we should go in without any further ado. But yeah, for those of you who are new, we are of course going to be talking about the events of the previous weeks of competition, as it has always been the case in the start of the season. And this week it's all about step number 5 that has happened. Of course, last weekend we have had a brand new rookie taking his first win of his career in the Trackmania Grand League. We also had another change for the league with the return of Granati to the top of the standings. We'll also get to talk about that, and we will get to hear a few words from 3 of the competitors. You will get namely to hear from Pac from M&M Gaming, currently battling for one of the final few spots in the playoffs, who managed to win 2 level 3 multipliers in a row this season. We're also going to get to hear from Mudda, the Australian player from Edelweiss Esports, currently sitting in P8 in the standings. And you'll also get to hear from Tween, who made his very best step of the season so far, finishing in 5th last weekend, currently sitting in P13 in the standings. After that, of course, we'll get to preview the brand new map that is coming out, of course, this week, Grasshopper by Kisla, as well as do a bit of a preview of Step 5. Then we'll get a bit of a recap of Trackmania Grand League Challengers, as well as the Trackmania Grand League Open. Well, we do have a few words about Trackmania Grand League Open before that particular recap of the top 8, and then afterwards, of course, give you a bit of an overview of how the week's gonna go. Oh yeah, during Trackmania Grand League Challenger recaps, I'll also reveal who will be my my co-caster, should I say rather, for this weekend. But without further ado, let's get stuck in to step number 5. And as is per tradition, we're gonna start off by showing you a bit more of a visual representation of what happened during the step. And so here are your top 10 highlights for the 5th step of this season.
Oh lolo, oh lolo.
Et du coup maintenant, Papou n'a plus le droit à l'erreur, mesdames et messieurs. Il repart avec moins de vitesse par rapport à Carl Junior et arrive dans les pipes avec une moins grosse intensité. Il faut absolument pas se louper maintenant. Et c'est ici qu'il va devoir la jouer un petit peu plus safe et peut-être se faire manger par le joueur canadien sur la fin. Non, quoique Papou va réussir à faire premier move à deuxième. Carl Junior va shipper la place à Mouda.
It's still very close to that world record. Tween is trying here though. He's getting closer, more speed on the tech part. Tween with a good jump here could do it. Tween could have the comeback story of a lifetime. He has to lead with 2 jumps to go. 1 more for the victory for Tween. He will line that up, and what a beautiful run by Tween. He will take it, doubling his...
Did he hit the... No. He almost hit the... Ah, no! Damn it! Oh, my... Oh.
1 second, just safe, it works, second ring works, and Mudda will take first place in the 4th map.
La précision absolue des différents joueurs. Est-ce que Afi va vraiment terminer et récupérer son x2? C'est ce qu'on va voir. On arrive bientôt vers la fin de la carte, le nosedive qui est bon, et bien sûr la strat, mesdames.
Est-ce qu'on va vraiment grid au maximum les 3 joueurs qui sont au coude à coude? Beaucoup de choses vont jouer sur la roue libre. La vitesse qu'ils ont réussi à emmagasiner, ça va être brutal. Voilà.
Gwen qui passe le premier, Papou il le passe extrêmement bien, mais à la frame. Gwen il passe le deuxième, ça se passe bien pour l'instant. Le 3ème pour Gwen, est-ce qu'il va passer correctement? Est-ce qu'il va pas prendre le mur? Oh, Gwen qui choke, Papou qui prend le x3.
C'est parti, le saut, c'est parti, c'est passé. C'est passé. Allez, c'est passé. Il reste le 2e ventilateur. Le 2e ventilateur, c'est tranquille, faut pas être trop sur la droite. Le 2 roues est bon en plus. Et le saut ici est validé. Et la DNF. Non, pas de DNF.
Oh non, quand même, la DNF. Non, mais t'es sérieux.
Jackpot.
Je mérite. L'hélice, le passage d'hélice qui arrive.
Mais j'ai un BPM là.
Non, attention.
Allez, ça
passe. Ok,
Attends.
encore deux.
Ça a l'air bon.
Oui.
Oui.
La dernière. S'il te plaît.
En champagne.
Oui, c'est bon. Y'a rien. Let's go, Coco.
Oh, ça fait tellement du bien.
Alright, so there you have it, your top 10 highlights. There's been quite a few shenanigans, of course, happening, and for me, the funniest moment is, funniest and maybe a bit of a sad moment as well was Gwen towards the end of round number 5. Just, he was doing so well for the latch jump, and then lands sideways on the ramp and then whoop, rolls over, and that was completely hit. Of course, 2 rounds later, he more than made up for it by winning a 4x multiplier. But yeah, that was a bit of a funny moment, I guess. I hate calling it a funny moment, but that's what it is, clearly. So
yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, yeah, like you said already, getting the 4x later was all planned, you know.
Yeah, all a part of the master plan, the game warm master plan. Well, let's take a look at how the step went, shall we? Let's take a look at the maps up first. Of course, here's your map pack from the previous week. Pole Party making its final appearance of the regular season in the Trackmania Grand League step as the first 6-lapper. Then we went on to Vertical and Poolside. Then Launchpad on race 4 was the first version as a 6-lapper. And then, of course, your brand new map, Bolt Holes from Rocket, his very first map in the Grand League map pack, his very first map in Trackmania Grand League, period. And I kind of want to touch a little bit, especially on the map number 4 and 5. On Launchpad, it was the first instance as a 6-lapper. I was kind of like dubious about how it would actually fare in the 6-lapper format. It provides some pretty good racing in 2-lapper, but in the end, 6-lapper was not too bad. If you look at it at the final race standings, 1st through 8th was still regrouped within 3.1 to 3.2 seconds. So the gaps are still relatively close after 6 laps, especially considering the identity. Of course, it could have been also different for some of the players who made some big mistakes. Scrappy, unfortunately, finishing last, penultimate position as well for Pack. And then Gwen, who actually took the lead really early on lap number 1, and then unfortunately on lap number 2, flew too low into the second CP, completely clubbered it, and then was forced to respawn, which completely put him out of commission. He went and got the fastest lap, which did salvage him a few extra points, which did go to the tally, but definitely not what he wanted to do. And given the pace that he has shown in the past on this map, and the fact that he was also the one to win the round on the multiplier round when this map was introduced, I feel like we can expect a lot more from Gwen in the next steps with this map.
Yeah, and with map 4, like you said already, where the top 8 was quite close. That is very much unlike Vertigo, especially last week, where Vertigo was much more spread out. I remember in the middle of it, Spam taking it safe, taking it easy, and just casually ended up 6th, even ever making a mistake at the start because so many people ahead of him just respawned. And that's not been the case with Launchpad, and that's really good.
Yeah, it seems as though, yeah, we had a bit more of a more refined racing and more closer racing overall on Launchpad. Now, moving on to Bolt Holes, I don't know how you feel about the 2-lappers. I feel like there have been some pretty close races and some pretty close moments. And yeah, I feel like it's a pretty good entry to matter, should I say? I know it's a bit of a rough translation from French. I'll say to that right now, but I feel like it's a pretty good first map that Rocket has actually given us here for the Trackmania Grand League. It provided some pretty good racing on 2-lappers. I think it could also yield some great races on 6-lappers. I actually had a bit of a conversation with Kappa about this, and I felt like that the identity is one of those ones where you can't really afford to have much variance in the way you approach it. You have to really approach it consistently at the very specific speed, at a very specific angle. If you mess up like your lineup by 1 pixel or go 1 km/h too early, you just end up clipping it at the top, the side, or the bottom, and you're completely and it completely wrecks your race. Especially in the 6-lapper, one single mistake there can completely doom your chances of scoring some big points here.
Exactly, and there are basically, I've seen 2 different approaches. One where you release more, and one where it seems like you can go really high, like full speed basically. But you have to choose which one you're gonna do, like the checkpoint before the identity even starts, because of the way you approach it and the speed you take before you jump into the first one. And I kind of do like that. It's it's cool to see in the race the players going for the different lines, different approaches, and seeing which one pays off. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting, but yeah, as I said, it's very much an identity that requires precision, and one where the it's very much a deceptive identity. At least that's the way I see it. The difficulty, it's not obvious. Like, the theory of it is very simple, but the execution is what really makes it really what separates the good players from the great players, in my opinion. So it's a pretty cool map, and a pretty good map in that regard that has been introduced in the map pack, at least in my honest opinion. Now, we've talking about the map pack. Let's talk about the results. We're going to cover a little bit of the top 5 and how they fared. So, of course, we have a brand new Trackmania Grand League step winner, the 5th different winner in 5 steps, and another rookie. A rookie, sorry, taking his first win of the season, and that is, of course, Binks from Easy Dream. The 17-year-old playing for the French team has taken his very first step win of the season, scored, well, let's see, 225 at the end. It was 45 at the first, after the first 4 races, finishing 3rd on pole party, finishing in P13 in Vertigo. Unfortunately, did not contribute that much there, followed by a last place on pole side, but then rebound with a 2nd position on Launchpad, the final 6-lapper. That was a really important one. And then in a final round on bolt holes versus Scrappy, he managed to hold off the Belgian and score his first 5x multiplier, and with it 225 points. On 2nd place, we find another Frenchman, so a French 1-2 in the form of Gwen from Team Game Ward. 9th on pole party with the fastest lap. 6th on Vertigo with 6th on Vertigo without the fastest lap. Poolside 2nd place with 22 points, and Launchpad, we kind of talked about it. He got the fastest lap, finished in P14. 50 points scored after the first 4 races, which allowed him to eventually score 200 points by virtue of winning round 7, allowing him to get a ×4 multiplier. On the podium, we find Pack from M&M Gaming, 50 points scored as well in the first 4 races. 11th on pole party, 4th on Vertigo, race win and fastest lap on pole side, and penultimate position on Launchpad with 1 single point. And then he won round number 6, the round just after Papu won, to get a ×3 multiplier. Papu is just behind him. He actually entered on the final map with 49 points scored. Yeah. He was just 1 point behind. 12th place on pole party, win on Vertigo, 13th on pole side, and 4th on Launchpad, allowing him to score 49 points, and he won round 5 thanks to that mistake from Gwen that we saw a little bit earlier in the highlights, allowing him to score 147 points. And of course, for me, performance of the week has to be Tween. Never out of the top 8 even once in the 4-6 lappers. 5th on pole party, 8th on Vertigo, 8th on pole side, 7th on Launchpad, scoring 64 points. Entering the final map, he went and run round number 3, which was a level 2 multiplier, so he doubled his score to 128 points. So, I think we could hear him. We have our interview in here, of course, Pack from M&M Gaming, but we're going to come to him in a little bit. We're going to take a look at the rankings first. So, let's take a look at the rankings after the 5th step of the season. Granadi retaking the lead of the championship with 683 points, Aurel in P2 with 657, Gwen moving up to 3rd place from 14th to 3rd in the space of 2 weeks. That is quite some progression there from Gwen with 646, 2 points ahead of Masa, 644, who himself is 2 points ahead of Api with 642. After that, a bit of a gap to Pack in P6 with 518, Binks up to P7 with 509, 487 for Muda in P8, 478 for Scrappy in P9, and Papu completing the top 10 with 453 points. And you can see we got 2 very close groups, well, close groups within each other. We find 65 points between 6th and 10th, and at the top it's something like 41 points between 1st through 5th, and there's still very much a shift of ranking happening here that could very well continue, and the trend is set to continue in the final few steps of the season.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this step as well didn't shake it up that much because of, well, the number 1 only, quote-unquote, got 225 points. Not a lot compared to what we've seen in a couple of steps before. Much closer. Yeah, the players who got the big multipliers got, well, a good amount of points, but nothing crazy like we've seen in some other steps.
Yeah, indeed. And I want to, of course, also talk a little bit about the bottom of the scoreboard. Well, the final 6, Brendan Carl Jr., 385 points apiece for them in 11th and 12th position. Tween making the best progress out of the ones in the bottom 4, moving itself up to P13 with that great performance. Still a little bit of a ways away from the safe harbor of 9th through 12th position, avoiding the head-to-head, but who knows? We're of course gonna get a word from him a little bit later on this evening, but yeah. He finally clicked. Let's hope that he clicked on early enough for him to be able to get back up that hill and try to get himself secured in the Grand League next season. So let me just try to set up the interview scene real quick. We do have our guest along with us here. We're just going to be setting up our scene. In the meantime, really sorry about this. I mean, it's very much a weekly show. It's a live show, and we have to do all the technical stuff live as well. So it seems as though we are ready for our guest. So let me just unmute him. Let's hope we will be able to hear from him. So can you hear us, Pack?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
And yes, that is a copy. Nice. Welcome on the show, Pack. First time for you being here. And first question is, how are you doing?
No, I'm doing all right. A little bit ill this week and last week, but you know, feeling okay. But yeah, I'm hoping my voice kind of comes through all right. But yeah, no, I'm doing decently, guys.
Yeah, your voice is doing good. I mean, we've all had a bit of a myself personally, I've had a bit of a rough time with my throat as well, especially after the big days that I've had. But yeah, I hope you're having a good recovery for yourself. And well, I'm not gonna be the one who's asking the round of questions. It's Sinas who does it, so I'm just gonna leave the floor to you, Sinas, on that one.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for your time. Welcome for your first time on the show. Yeah, let's get straight into it. I think notably throughout the season was your performance in the 2-lapper format, where getting the multipliers was pretty hard the first couple of steps, but now 2 times in a row you've managed to get one. Is there any approach change, any training change that happened, or was it more like a coincidence that now it's you're getting more lucky, basically?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think the first 3 steps, everything went out of hand, to be honest. I couldn't really get anything together. Nothing was really working, and I think it was just I needed the one step to go right. I needed one run to get me the multiplier, and then yeah, it sort of kicked something off now. So having gotten it the first time 2 steps ago, it sort of kicked off this one feeling, you know what, it isn't just a curse, it isn't just, you know, all bad luck on my side. I can actually win a round. I think it's one of them things where as soon as you do win a round, you can do it again. And yeah, I mean, it isn't always going to be the same case. I mean, I should have won some in the first ones and not crashed, but it is what it is. So I'm happy to finally have some rounds now where I'm not crashing every single 2-lapper.
Yeah, that's very good to see, because yeah, I think it was quite the rounds on Twitter where you were first in points if you take a look at the first 4 maps only, and then the multiplier really messes up the standings for you. And now that evens out a little bit, so that's good. Let's see here. The ranking is very close between the top players right now. What is your strategy for the end of the season, and how will you go like even higher on the standings if that's your goal?
Don't really know. I think next step, I'm just hoping to, you know, get another multiplier, and then I think it's more about the last 2 just riding it out and just getting into the playoffs. I don't think I can challenge the top necessarily with the lack of time I'm going to have on the next 2, so it's just more about trying to you know, make sure this next step is another good one, another ×3 hopefully, or a ×2 even, you know, just making sure I still maintain my points going forward. I think the harder thing is to get into the playoff situation than stay in it. I feel like I'm in an easier position now than I was. I'm more relaxed about it, which I think the top 5 will probably feel the same as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can carry on forward. I mean, the points are very close, so I'm hoping to just somehow stay there, but at the end of the day, yeah, if I don't, I don't, but that's not really what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I stay in and sort of just keep the flow going, and mainly do well on the first 4 tracks as well, because the last 2 steps I've only done well on 2 of them out of the 4, and the first 3 I did well on 3 out of the 4, so hopefully I can come back and do 4 out of 4 on top 8s, and then get a multiplier, and then it's a lot more safer than what I am currently now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's really the double whammy of getting 4 good maps, and then, well, any multiplier is going to be really, really good. You mentioned the top players already a little bit, but we see a lot of new faces in the top 5. Are you surprised to see the names currently on sorry, are you surprised to see the ranking as it currently is?
If you asked me before the season who was going to be the top 5 midway through or 5 steps through, I wouldn't have said any of these names. But then again, you didn't realize. Well, I mean, I guess I realized the format was going to be like this. But then again, the system-wise, beforehand, if you based it on last point system, I wouldn't have said this top 5. But then again, all of them are very good players in their own right in that way as well. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, yeah, I think it is a surprise in a way. You wouldn't expect Carl to be near the bottom, Bren to be near the bottom, and Gwen to be near the bottom for half the season already. But then, you know, this top 5 has used this system well. They've got their points. I mean, Grenadi points system or without point system is first no matter what. So he really knows how to play consistently, and I think that's helped him stay good throughout the season. And I think the maps have suited certain people better as well, because some of them have been really hard and weird identities, and some have been pace maps like the majority of last season, where we saw really nice maps, in my opinion, throughout the whole thing. So it's like, it kind of like, yeah, we've gone from good builds to weird builds, and you know, it kind of helps other players more than other players. But yeah, I mean, this top 5 is good. They've all done really well, and I'd rate them all highly. I think people underestimate Afi as well, because Afi is unbelievable and super fast, and so the whole format is really cool for him, because like he's suddenly become this really quick player, and I think himself is definitely always going to be a top 5 person now. And to see Aurel obviously consistent and pay off in step 1, Grenadi every single step has been good, and Massa has, you know, he's got a new PC now and everything's, you know, going his way. He's got no lag issues, so I think he's in his own right come into his element. I still think all the 16 players though in the Grand League is deserved of all the spots, and everyone still is unreal in their own right. So yeah, it could be any top 5, but this top 5 is a good top 5, I think, still.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they do indeed deserve it, that's true. And like you said already, it seems like every year the field is closing in more and more, where the skill gap is getting less and less between all the 16 players. And you can clearly see that this season. Well, you had a rival kind of with Carl. You mentioned him already. He is currently out of the top 8, which is, well, surprising to everyone, basically. Do you mentioned already you're going for the top 8 yourself. Do you hope he will make it as well, so you can face off against him in the playoffs, or is that something you're not really thinking about?
I mean, if he makes it into playoffs, I think it'll mean more. TMGL, or the winner of this season, would mean more. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. I mean, if he goes into the, what's it called? The
Final Chance?
Final Chance. No. What's the other one? Where you're out at the final bottom. If he goes into bottom 4.
Head to head.
That would be, yeah. If he goes into head to head, that would be hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just proves this season was a bit of a joke. But in another way, I think if he makes playoffs, it means more. If he doesn't make it, it opens it up for another person to win. So in that way, it's good in both ways. But I still think the position he's in shows how this season has been a bit different to all the other ones.
Yeah, that's a bit of an understatement. I completely agree with you. And then lastly, I would like to know your thoughts on the new map, because you mentioned already that you would like to see some more pace-based maps. Is this one of them?
Pace-based. I mean, up until the identity, it's pace-based, and then it becomes a semi-lottery, semi-random. I don't really know. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't played the map yet. I've only watched it. I haven't had time to actually play it yet. By watching people, it seems doable in a way, but then again, who really knows? I don't really know, because I haven't actually touched it. So I think it's great up until the identity, and then the identity itself for 6 laps, fine. But for a 2-lap to win, double your points, triple, quadruple, quintuple, all that sort of stuff, it's not ideal. But then again, this is what we're doing now. We're playing this every weekend to show off some crazy bounces nowadays, so it should be fun to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully I get some good ones on Sunday and get a multiplier, but we'll see. I definitely enjoyed the first part of the track though. That looks like it would be really fun to play.
All right, and with that, sadly we're out of time. So I want to thank you once again for coming on the show and for your elaborate answers. Really cool, and I'll wish you the best of luck.
Thank you for having me. Cheers, man. Nice to appear on the show. So yeah, cheers.
Thank you for your time, Pack, and yeah, I wish you all the good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our first interview of the day with Pack. Pretty interesting also to hear his thoughts on the map, and it's I don't know how many people actually share his sentiment about the new map. Of course, we're gonna delve into it a little bit further down the road after we're done with the interviews, of course, in our preview Step 5, and also pretty cool to actually hear his perspective on how his season went and how he reckons some of the other people in the field, and namely Carl Jr., might be thinking about making it further in the season. And yeah, that was a very good point to actually hear Pack on that perspective. Without further ado, I think we do have our next guest in line. Let me just set up the booth really quick. Of course, we are done with one interview. We have got 2 more to go. That man is none other than Mutta from Edelweiss Esports. The scene is ready, so here he is. The Australian player is right there with us. Welcome here on the show in what must be a pretty early morning for you, I'm imagining. And first of all, how are you doing?
Oh, feeling lovely. Yeah, very happy with the step I had last week. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a multiplier, but I didn't feel confident about my pace on map 5 last week. But yeah, like otherwise, I was very happy with the step. Feeling good this week. Yeah, that's about it, really.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna be out of the run of questions as usual. It's Sinas who's gonna be asking those, so I'll let you do it.
Hey, Mutta, welcome to the show. Happy to see you here. Yeah, let's get straight into it. Currently on the rankings, you are in the top 8. And this is a little bit, relatively to your last season, a little bit worse. Is it harder for you to come this time around? Maybe the format is different, or what's going on?
I think for the first half, like the first 3 or 4 steps, I really struggled to put the 6 lappers together. Yeah, I made lots of mistakes, like they were just completely unnecessary. But yeah, I think I've like picked that up as the season's gone along, and I'm feeling better and better. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that when I've had those multipliers, I haven't had the 6 lappers to back it up, so the steps have always been a bit, like they average each other out. Like I haven't had a superb result yet.
Yeah, but I do feel like, if I remember correctly, this last step for you was a lot better in the four maps accumulating the points, right?
Yeah, oh, best step of the season.
Yeah.
Probably the best step I've played at all, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely really good, especially on the formats. I was very impressed. Is there anything you changed in your approach of training the maps, or did you just have a good week?
I focused a little bit more attention on the 6 lappers, like mainly trying to improve the pace and the comfort there. Yeah, that's probably really it. Do still put a lot of effort into the 5th map, but yeah, just focusing a bit more on the 6 lappers, making sure I stay refreshed, so that I'm actually focusing on the maps, stuff like that.
All right, yeah, well, it seems to be working. And now, yeah, we mentioned already 8th on the score, but the ranking is still incredibly close around there. Anything really is possible. Do you think we will see some risky strategies towards the end of the season? People trying to claw their way back into the top 8, getting the position away for you, or maybe you going for a Hail Mary, going more up in the standings?
Oh, really? At this point, it's just about getting. I think the most important thing is to secure those top 8 finishes in the 6 lappers. Like, for the rest of the season, that's really going to make a huge difference. Especially if you feel confident on the multiplier map, like getting those 6 lappers, those 15 plus points every map, it's really going to snowball your points, help you get a top 8 at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like a strategy that is brewing a little bit is focusing a bit more on the 4 maps to get as much points as possible, and then getting then the 2x multiplier is already going to be really good. Is this something you're going for as well?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just gonna go for anything I can get. Like, if I can get another 4 top 8s and then a 2x multiplier, then I'm good. I'll take that.
Take that. Yeah. And now, of course, you're relatively new to the Trackmania Grand League. We have some new rookies doing incredibly well. Gennady and Binks, for example. Are you surprised to see them do this well this season?
I'm not really surprised. Like, Gennady's always been a fairly consistent player. It's good to see that he's really stepped up his 6-lappers. Like, he really struggled in OGL with that over the last couple of seasons, but yeah, he's really stepped up this time. And yeah, Binks, I knew he had the pace. I just wasn't sure if he had the consistency. And he seems to be picking that up as well, which is nice to see. The new talent shining through.
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about the new map a little bit. I asked Pack already, but he seemed to not have trained it that much. Did you prepare on the new map already?
Yeah, I've played a couple of days already. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw it, because seeing as it was like 2 pace maps in a row, when for the entire season when we're going like easy map, hard map, easy map, hard map, and then yeah, but when I saw the strategy and the identity, my face just lit up. Like, I remember that feeling. Like, I love wacky stuff like that.
Yeah.
As people would know.
Yeah, you probably saw the tweet of Insane on Twitter, right? With his 360 approach.
Yeah, he linked it into my chat at the time while I was discovering the map.
Yeah. Do you think that's something the players will be going for, or will there be a somewhat more safe approach in the identity?
Well, there is a consistent way to do the bug slide spin strategy. Like, there's like 3 or 4 different strategies you can do, and all of them work. One of them is very fast, but will never happen in a live round. It reminds me of the vertigo pipe, the last one. I don't know if you know, but you could go underneath the pipe at the end. Like, it's a strategy like that, for example. Like, it's possible, but no one's gonna do it.
Yeah, but that does hint to me that maybe in a 2-lapper format where it's all or nothing, this could be a strategy people are going for, right? Or is it actually like way too risky for even that?
Just in case, like,
yeah, if you're 3rd or 4th with a couple of tenths behind.
Yeah, but I feel like the strategy I'm doing now, or the strategies I am doing, I feel confident enough to already do them in the 6-lappers. Like, it's honestly the rest of the map, like 2 specific turns that are really bothering me in the normal map, but the identity seems okay right now.
All right, good to hear. And yeah, I mean, of course you are a TMGL player, but I want to quickly talk about full speed for a second because, well, that's your background. You've been playing full speed for a long time, basically known as the best full speed player of all time. I play a little bit of myself, that's why I bring it up. Do you still play full speed in a way where you feel like you're on a high level, or is it something you're, well, letting fall on the wayside a little bit now that you're in TMGL?
I would love to play full speed competitions more, but the schedule keeps overlapping with TMGL. It's like, well, I can't play both. I want results in TMGL. I need to focus TMGL. Like, if there were more events off season, I would definitely be playing full speed more. But even when I practice, I don't feel like I've really lost the abilities, which is nice. It's just I don't have the muscle memories sometimes.
Yeah.
I just lose a little bit of time at the starts, for example. But yeah, other than that, I still feel good in full speed. And I really wish that there was more speed sliding, more full speed elements that aren't just, auto scrollers in TMGL. I would love to see some more, but yeah, man can dream.
Exactly, I will be dreaming with you about that one, but indeed, there is not a lot of your full speed skills that translate to the TMGL, which is part of why it is so impressive that you have risen to starting OGL and then immediately into TMGL, it seems like. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about how you managed to do that?
Well, the intent was just to play OGL to see where I was in the field and just try out of curiosity. And yeah, that season took me by surprise more than anyone else. And then just immediately jumping into top 8 performance in TMGL in winter, I was like, okay, this is really cool. Didn't expect this.
Yeah. Yeah, now you're a staple to TMGL, I think. We will be seeing you for quite a few seasons, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. Like, ride this as long as I can.
Exactly. All right. So sadly, we're out of time, but I want to thank you for your time, basically, and wish you best of luck at the rest of the season. Hopefully getting into the top 8 in the playoffs. Can't wait to see you there.
All right. No worries. Thanks for having me.
All right. Good. Thank you for your time, and good luck in the rest of the season, Pat.
Bye-bye.
So that was the interview with Mudda, done and dusted. It was again pretty cool to hear. It's pretty cool to actually bring up the full speed topic that you've seen. Well, we are implicated in the full speed scene yourself, and it's
a little bit.
yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've seen you maybe play 1 or 2 maps of of full speed masters, but nothing too crazy. But of course, it's always pretty impressive to see the progression that he gone through. I mean, I casted him when he was actually doing the full speed league glitch edition, the solo tournament back in May of 2020, and he was really impressive there. I was genuinely impressed by his speed, and I was even more impressed when he got into TMGL with the way that he went from full speed master, full speed god almost, to a really impressive all-rounder that is really up there right from the get-go. And yeah, it was really cool to hear from him here on the show. Now we have our third guest in here. We're gonna be setting up the scene for him. It is of course none other than Tween. Marek is right there with us in the chat. I'm just gonna be prepping the scene for a few seconds. I'm just gonna do a quick sound test with him. Can you hear us, Marek?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hello? Hey, okay, we good. We good. It seems like we've got everything up and running. So, well, we don't have a camera for Marek, unfortunately, but you guys will still get to see his beautiful face because we have set up the camera specifically. There he is! Oh, I'm putting it the wrong way. There we go. Camera is inverted. Here we go. Welcome on the show. Man, I gotta say, it's been a long time since we have been in a call together. Like, Jesus. But, yeah, first question I'm gonna ask you is, how you doing?
Yeah, so, thank you for having me. I'm doing really nice. Actually, I just had a free day, and yeah, I'm slowly but surely getting prepared for the next step. So I'm feeling pretty relaxed, and nothing is really stressing me out. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be in a really good state of mind, a really good place where you don't really have to worry much about anything else, and just be focused on your on the upcoming steps. So, as I said, pretty much as per tradition, is just going to be Sinas asking the questions, and I'm going to be sitting here in autopilot, because that's what I like to do generally. Like, listen, I do listen to the questions and answers, but I'm not the one asking them. I'm too shy to do that live, but yeah, Sinas, take it away.
Yeah, I guess I'll do them indeed. Tween, welcome to the show. Yeah, how are you feeling after your most recent step, which has been quite a bit better than yours, I might say?
Yeah, so it felt really nice. I mean, I knew I had that in me, but of course you could see that the first 4 steps really didn't go my way, right? So I kept trying to maybe figure out stuff too much, and maybe overthinking stuff, and I just realized that at some point you just have to practice more, right? So I tried to do that. I tried to keep up on the 6 lappers to refresh them during the week, and it paid off, I guess. I had a couple of really lucky breaks, right? Especially on Vertigo, where I basically fell off the pipe twice, and especially in the last lap, I was like, this is not in my hands. Like, someone has to fall down, right? And in the end, someone did. So yeah, I managed to keep top 8 even on that one. So that was a pretty things were really going my way.
Yeah, and it seems like your luck has turned around last week. And now, well, you shot up on the standings a little bit, getting closer to a more safe position, being in the top 12, where you secure your spot for the next season. Is this going to be your goal for the rest of the season, or will you maybe aim even higher now you have the momentum in your favor?
Yeah, so I've been looking at the scoreboard quite a lot, and yeah, I mean the thing is that if I would be 13th in a normal, in a random, well, random is a bad word, but in another season, maybe I feel a lot more confident, given that now I'm like surrounded by world champions, right? So it's going to be really tough to climb up on the scoreboard. So yeah, on the other hand, I'm not really fighting them. I'm fighting the points they have, right? And
yeah.
If I keep like raking those points in like I did on the last step, and maybe even be a little more risky with my approach, I mean, I could do like 3 more steps like this, and if that happens, then you know, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And well, I mean, we can knock on the format a lot, but at least the catch-up potential is really high in this one. And well, you have proven that in your last step. One thing is here, it's that you are about 267 points away from top 8. Is this a goal too high, maybe, or is it something that's in the back of your mind?
I mean, it's still possible, right? Yeah, like maybe this week I'll really try to get 2x multiplier, but it doesn't work, and then maybe it works on the 5x, you know. So
yeah,
you can't really you can set your goals before the step, and maybe your strategy in terms of the multipliers, but after that it's really you just have to be clutch.
Exactly, the execution needs to be on point. And you mentioned already going for a 2x multiplier. Is this going to be the strategy for you in this week?
Maybe. I'm not actually completely sure right now, because as I've heard Pac say, he was talking about the identity on the map, and that is it's a spot that really it forces you to play for the 2x more, at least from my point of view, because I don't know if I'm confident enough to just like give up half of my chances to multiply my points. And yeah, I'll have to see from the rest of the week, from the practice, if I'm going to be able to really you know, have the confidence to go for 3x or more.
Yeah, that is of course a big risk going for a high multiplier. I mentioned already a little bit at Muda's interview, but it seems like the Trackmania Grand League level is getting higher and higher every year. And now we see on the bottom of the scoreboard some names that honestly I'm surprised they are there. Do you agree that the level is getting higher? And are you surprised to see new players like Binks and Grenadi do so well in their first season?
I don't know about higher. I think it's kind of staying the same in like absolute values, but I think that there are some players that really capitalized on the new system, and they were able to adapt really well. And me myself, I was a little unclear on like what's important and what's not from the beginning, and I feel like those players really set their goals straight, you know, and that's what helped them a lot. And especially with Grenadi, like what's really fascinating is that, if I'm not mistaken, he has not yet gotten like a 4x or 5x. He is just like being super consistent and multiplying it by 2 or 3 times. So that's actually really impressive, is that his number of points and him being first is not like a result of one, let's say I would not say fluke, but you know, like
yeah,
like
he did. I see what you mean. He didn't really go exactly try to go big on this particular step, trying to go for beyond and go for the last 2 round wins, 4x and 5x. He really went consistent with doubling or tripling of the score, and it seems to have paid off.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I would expect from the first guy to be maybe a little less stable in terms of the steps. Like I would expect him to have a 400 point step under his name. And,
yeah, like
Grenadi doesn't have that. He just has super consistency, and that's really impressive.
Yeah, indeed. I think Grenadi is probably the player with the highest minimum amount of points if you look at all the steps.
Yeah, if there was a
guess,
rule,
but I'm pretty sure that's true.
If there was a rule that like one of your step goes out, you know, from the count,
yeah,
then he would suffer the most.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is indeed very interesting. Yeah. Any? Let's see. So what is going to be the goal here for you at the end of the season? Top 12, or what are we looking at?
So I'll try to get to the playoffs. Then I'll try to get to top 12. Or honestly, I'll just try to keep up the improvements that I'm getting from each step. It's actually pretty interesting that each step that I'm playing, I'm getting better and getting more points. Yeah. And if it keeps up, you know, like top 8 is within reach, but that'll be really really difficult. So still, I have 3 more steps. Anything can happen, so let's make it to playoffs, right?
All right, let's go. Yeah, the momentum is definitely in your favor, so we'll. I can't wait to see how you're going to perform in the next 3 steps. And I want to thank you for your time. We're sadly out of it. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for coming on, Marek, and yeah, good luck for the rest of your season.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
So there you have it. We had a word from Tween this week. It feels good to actually hear from the man himself. As I said, I haven't really heard his voice in a year. We haven't been in the voice call together in a year. It's been good talking to him. It's nice to see that he's feeling good about the result that he had last week. He's feeling good about this week as well. I guess one thing that I would have loved to have asked, but I didn't really want to interrupt you guys, is that I wanted to ask him if it felt a bit more like a relief and maybe like an unlocking of a potential once you get your first multiplier, because that was something that we've seen with Pac and Kappa, for instance. They won their first multiplier in step 4. They managed to win it again on step 5. Now, it can be true for some players. Sometimes it cannot be true for others. But
Tween says yes.
yeah. Tween says yes. Oh, so there you go. I got the answer to my question. Sorry for not asking it on Tween, but yeah. Thank you very much for your answer. But yeah, that concludes our little review and recap of step number 5. Now let's take a look ahead into the future, and by the future I mean this weekend. Step number 6 happening, of course, at 8 p.m. and 6 p.m. for the challengers. And we have a brand new map. Vertigo is getting played for the final time as the in the season. They are going to be the opening race. Pole Party is getting phased out, so it will no longer be played over the course of the season. And the brand new map for this week is a second map from Kisla called Grasshopper. Take a look. So, that was the preview of your brand new map for this week, Grasshopper by Kisla, and here is a look at the map pack: Vertigo, Poolside, Launchpad, Bolt Holes, and Grasshopper. Now, about the new map itself, Kisla providing another contribution for this season. It seems to be pretty pace-based. I've had the chance to play the map myself. There are a few transitions where you do need a certain amount of speed to be able to make it through. For instance, one of the jumps that we've seen at the plastic part, the plastic downhill, you need around 315 to 320 Ks in order to clear it nicely. That's of course the speed depends on your approach, but the approach that I managed to go down, it was around 320 Ks needed. And of course, the identity itself with the return of the bumpers. And we haven't seen them since the winter 2020 season, so that was back in Trackmania 2 Stadium. Remember the old days of Trackmania 2? Anyways, yeah, so they're a returning block for this season, and we also see, I think it is the first appearance of the cruise control block. Well, it was a block in the road at one point, and it now has been changed into a ring because of some apparently some inconsistencies with the roadblock variants. I might be completely wrong on this, but there was a few investigations on the behavior of the cruise control block and ring variants made by Flink. I think you should check them out on YouTube, Flink TM. And due to feedback upon that, the block has been replaced by a cruise control ring. And yeah, overall the map feels pretty good, pretty good to play in the hands. The identity I tried doing the buck slide. I'm not really that consistent when it comes to buck slides. It's very much like a 5 to 10% passage rate for me as a pleb. I wonder how you feeling about this one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Trackmania Grand League players will have a higher passing rate on that one, but I'm sure that's gonna be fine. Yeah, I do remember the Trackmania 2 days, the first time this block was introduced and one of the identities. Honestly, it was kind of hilarious, but kind of ridiculous. This time around, a lot more timid, and we'll have to see how the identity is gonna play out. Muda already mentioned there's gonna be like multiple strategies. A couple of them are gonna be more consistent. Some of them are gonna be really, really risky. So that's already, this excites me because I love seeing different lines for the players and seeing which one pays off the most. So in that part of it, I'm excited, but we'll have to see about the identity and how. I hope it's not going to be a Cloud Fiesta. Let's just say that.
Yeah, let's hope it's not going to be. It's going to be a repeat of Vertigo. I'm just praying for that. I don't want another Vertigo because it feels a bit of a casino map. Let's say that. Also, Kim coming in with the technical knowledge, and he gives us a bit more of a tidbit about the cruise control thing that I was talking about. With the block, the cruise control reapplies every time that you're on the block, even when you're on the same block, so you end up keep on losing speed while you're on it. The longer you're on it, the lower the speed cap is actually going to get set. Whereas the ring trigger is much slower. It's basically just a completely, I'm guessing it's sort of a flat plane. I don't know how game development works and the triggers work, but you get the idea. You go through the ring once and the speed is capped completely, and then gets reduced by 3 kilometers an hour from your passing speed. You get from the replays I've seen, you get on past it at 303, you get down to 300. So it's not a plane, but it's very thin. Okay, thank you very much, Kim, for explaining me that. I know I'm here trying to get some info as well for me to get a better understanding of what is going on. And yeah, hoping it's not a Clown Fiesta as well, but we're gonna have to see how the pros do it. Are they gonna if they're gonna be like there are 3 possible ways, 2 very predictable ways, and a third one. This first one is, of course, getting the safe way, not performing the buck slide, trying to get on as straight as possible over the bumps, which is, of course, the slowest part. The second part, strat is, of course, going for the buck slide, orienting your car towards the left to perform the buck slide, and then flick it towards the right to reorient the car back up front so that you're able to take the jump in a perfectly straight manner, and then go on to the other part.
This was in the map preview, right?
Which was in the map preview. Or you can go full Giga Chad like Insane did on Twitter and try to pull off a full Wicked 360 and try to actually land it. I don't expect many people to try that to happen. Unfortunately, I don't have the clip there for you, but if you want to check it out, of course, check out the Insane TM on Twitter. It's golden. It's golden. That's all I can say. Now, of course, Bolt Hole's first Tournament 6 snapper. I'm going to be very interested to see how that turns out with the identity that we talked about a little bit earlier in our Step 5 recap. But before we go back and talk a little bit about what's about the other stuff like Challenger and Open, I figured we would have a little bit of a map on board. And for once, I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to be talking about the map. I'm just going to let you enjoy the sights and sounds of Trackmania along with some music. Fair to say, but yeah, here is a flying lap on Grasshopper on board your championship leader, Granari from Alternate ATAX. So there you had it, a lap on board with Kanari. Of course, the onboard lap is going to be uploaded. I don't think it's uploaded right now, but it will be uploaded in a few days, I think, over on the official Trackmania YouTube channel. And of course, if you want to analyze the replay, analyze it yourself, if you've got the game, you can also download the, you can also check out the ghosts in the game, or try to get a replay of it and try to analyze it that way using some pretty cool plugins such as Dashboard by OpenPlanet. It's something that I use for like analyzing replays and doing recce runs. It's very helpful to be able to like see the inputs of players, and it really helps me. And it really helps me being able to dissect the corners and being able to like do full-on breakdowns of the various inputs that are not needed, but that are gonna yield you a pretty good line. So if you want to check out the plugins for yourself, check out Mrs. Dashboard, and if you don't know about OpenPlanet, check out OpenPlanet. It's a really cool addition to the game.
Yeah, openplanet.nl.
Openplanet.nl, exactly, maintained by Miss. So there you go. Vertigo, Poolside, Launchpad, Bolt Holes, and Grasshopper, your map pack for step number 5 of TMGL, which is of course happening on the 21st, of course, this Sunday at 8 PM CET. Virtual, once again, in the casting booth on this channel, twitch.tv/Virtual. And if you want to have all of our POVs, be it Sinas's POV over on the Spanish channel for Alliance, or my POV and my cast for McLaren Shadow, ! main event in the chat, or trackmaniagrandleague.com/watch if you want to get directly to the website and check out all the various streams in English, French, and German. So that concludes the Trackmania Grand League portion of this particular show. Let's talk a little bit about the challengers. I've had the honor of casting with Sneaky, commentator from the Rocket League scene, and we had a pretty intensive step that was probably one of the most energetic casts that I've done personally, and my throat towards the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I don't really have much left, but yeah, it's been a really good step to actually follow along. So Otak being the very well, taking his second win of his career, second win of the season, and being the first leader other than Mime in the standings. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yes, 370 points scored last step. He scored 74 in the first 4 races and won the 8th and final round, winning a ×5 multiplier, hence the 370. Then we had Mime in P2, 168 points for him, scored over the course of the step, 56 over the first 4 races, and then 156 points for Energize, 52 points in the first 4 races, and then got a 3x multiplier by virtue of winning round number 5. Default and Miquatro are the only other ones above the 100-point barrier at 128 and 108. They finish in P4 and P5 of step number 5. Here's a quick look at the rankings. Otak taking the lead of the standings for the first time. The first lead change overall. 1,237 points. Mime down to second with 1,174 points. And excuse me, but Hydra, Hotak, first to third, double the points. Like that's it. That's all you need to know. The gap is humongous between the top 2 and the rest of the field. But then the rest of the field is also pretty packed. Like, you got a pretty solid battle for top 3 with Hydra, Evan, and Energize. Then you also find Wolfstyle and Miquatro pretty close together. And then the final spot for the TMGLC final, that's going to be spicy as well. Razi 8th with 405, Link 9th with 395, and Cap 10th with 391. This is going to be very close. And those last, as I said, those last few spots in the final for TMGLC are going to be very costly. They're going to cost a lot for some of those players.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to see that Otak mentioning in his interview a couple of steps ago here on the Weekly Show that he was going for the #1 spot and gonna dethrone Mime. And here we are, and he did it. So that's quite impressive, especially with Mime keeps on performing every step, but Otak just, well, especially last step, just the amount of points. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Otak just went full Giga Chad on that map 5. Unlike some of the other maps, like when we had him on the show, of course, after Poolside, where he said that his 5x was kind of unexpected. This time he managed to get it when it counted and when he absolutely wanted. Yeah. So yeah. Of course, we're going to have the step at 6 PM this Sunday, and I guess it's time to unveil my co-caster for the weekend. I will be casting alongside Elliot Leach, aka Leachy, another caster from the Rocket League scene, and yeah, he's one of the other members of the minor league esports crew. I'm really looking forward to actually casting with him. He's someone from New Jersey, so another man from NA that I'm going to be having the opportunity to work with. I've had a lot of fun casting with Sleegy, and I'm really looking forward to work with Leachy as well. So yeah, the step is at 6 PM CET. on Sunday here on twitch.tv/Trackmania. Make sure to actually mark the date and be there for the 6th step of the season. Now, moving on to the final thing I wanted to evoke, which is the Trackmania Grand League Fall, or, well, TMGL Open, Open Grand League Fall 2021, whatever you want to call it. We had Step 4 played out last Saturday, but there was a bit of an issue. Unfortunately, the final map for the day, which was Launchpad, was not played out apparently due to a server issue. There was a bit of deliberation on how the scoring was going to be kept, if there was going to be a final map played before the Step 5 on Saturday. At the end, it was deemed that the rankings would be published with just the formats that were played that day. And so, here are your rankings at the... Oh, Poolside got skipped. Oh, okay, that was me completely getting it wrong. Sorry about that, but yeah. So, Launchpad was played, Poolside gets skipped. Okay, fair enough. And so, at the end, we have the following top 8 after step number 4. And they are currently retaining the lead. Skandir in P2, the Darkwix in P3, Hugo de Sanva in P4, Sapi in P5, Bresso P6, Mika 7th, and Wawa completing the top 8 so far. Remember, the best 6 results from each player will get counted in the final results, so league standings are in no way final. I would strongly advise to check the ranking in-game if you want to get the most up-to-date rankings. The ones on the website are not updated yet. I'm going to be reporting that issue so that it will get fixed ASAP. But yeah, so there you go. NR, Skandir, the Darkwix, Hugo de Sanva, Sapi, Bresso, Mika, and Wawa. Which leads us to the overall program for this week. So, Step 5 of Open Grand League at 6 p.m. If you want to take part, of course, make sure you're registered in the competition via the in-game tab and then join the server before the step starts and you'll be able to play. Then, of course, TMGLC Step 6 at 6 p.m. on Sunday here on twitch.tv/Trackmania with me alongside Lychee. And then 8 p.m. CET, or CET rather, for TMGL Step 6. Sinas, of course, casting for Spam, myself casting for McLaren Shadow, and a lot of different casts available for you. Twitch !main event or trackmaniagrandleague.com/watch. And yeah, that concludes the show. I'm just gonna be finding someone. Who shall we actually raid, do you think? I just want
to do someone who is streaming Trackmania.
Yeah, let's do someone who's streaming Trackmania. Let me actually try to find someone who's playing Trackmania, shall we? Thank you very much for being along with us here for the show. It's a little bit of a different ambiance. I wasn't feeling super well by myself, but yeah, I hope you guys still enjoyed. And yeah, it's a real pleasure to continue doing these shows. I hope that next time I will be feeling a little bit better, a bit more prepared maybe. But yeah. You know what? I think we should raid someone who's casted Grand League, but who's casted Grand League pretty recently. I want to talk. I actually want to raid Race Hans. I want to actually go, give a visit to Race Hans. So make sure to send to tell him hi from us. He's currently playing the campaign. I think he's on the U game. Let me just check the stream. Yeah, he is indeed playing the fall campaign at the moment. He's currently trying to improve his PBs, I'm imagining. So yeah, go tell him that we said hi. We will also be in the chat to tell him hi. Thank you very much for tuning into the 5th episode of the TMGL Weekly Show. This has been it from us at the Trackmania channel, and I'll see you on Sunday. And for both me and Sinas, I'll see you next week. Have a good one, guys.
See ya.